What did you make to the reasons that Gareth Southgate gave yesterday? He talked about him playing out wide for Villa and maybe missing out because he's behind the likes of Raheem Sterling, Rashford. What did you make to that?
Not a lot, to be honest, because that's Gareth's job. My job is Aston Villa, and if he doesn't go away with England, then I've got more time to work with him on the training ground here. So, listen, I'd love the lad to be called up because, in my opinion, he deserves it. But it's the opinion of the people at the moment that counts.
Do you think he is just restricted to that position, though? I mean,
No, I think Gareth said yesterday he can play as a wide player or he can play as an attacking midfielder, as he's done with Aston Villa last season and this season. So, there's a number of different positions he can play.
With what you know of Grealish's character, you said he's disappointed, but how do you think he'll react?
He'll react how he has been before. I mean, we all saw what happened when he missed football for 3 months last season, and he came back with a bang, a volley against Derby, as I recall, and an assist with his first ball forward. So, your job is always about trying to prove people wrong. He'll feel that, he's playing, at a good enough level, so, he'll be a little bit frustrated, but as I've said, all he can do is work harder for Aston Villa and, make other people take notice.
And hopefully he can do that. You'll be hoping on Sunday against
Wales.
I'm
hoping he's fit for Sunday, and then he seems to relish certainly the local games.
And in terms of this game, first time you've played Wolves in the top flight since 2012. What kind of a atmosphere are you expecting? What kind of a game?
That'd be a good atmosphere. It was a strange one the other week in the Carabao Cup. There was probably 20 changes out of 22 from both teams, and with Wolves bringing over 5,000 to the game, it was a bit of a subdued atmosphere because of all the changes, and we comfortably won that game, but it'll be very different come Sunday with two probably different teams, but the styles of play will be very similar still, because they have a way to play, we have a way to play, and it's going to be a bit of a chess game out there, to see if you can get the upper hand. Both teams want to get the ball and dominate possession. So it'll be interesting to see, how it works to try and get that ball back.
In terms of your form coming into the game, you've lost your last couple of games, but they were against Manchester City and Liverpool, and you actually ran Liverpool very close. Do you take a lot of positives out of that performance against Liverpool?
I take performances out of both of them because we went to Man City first, and nil at half time, and we give a silly goal away, and then we've had one wrongly given. So, we then went into the Liverpool game with the belief that we could go and compete with these teams, because they're the top two teams in the league, maybe Europe as well, and maybe the world. So we knew we had to go and be competitive, but we got a lot of positives from that Man City game and took it into the Liverpool game. We know we didn't have an awful lot of ball against Liverpool, and probably that was my biggest disappointment. We certainly second half, I felt when we won it back, we gave them the ball back too cheaply and enabled them to eventually wear us down, physically and mentally. But our play without the ball was as good as it's been this season.
You obviously saw Liverpool concede against you in the second half of that game, and that's happened a lot this season. A lot of the goals you conceded have been in the second half. Wolves have scored a lot of goals in the second half, so is that something you've been particularly looking at and trying to find the reasons out for why?
Not particularly, to be honest, because the late goals have been at Arsenal, Tottenham and Manchester City, and against Liverpool, so top teams in the league. Wolves have done fantastically well. They finished 7th last year in the Europa League this year, and they've scored a lot of goals. They're probably the draw specialists in the league so far this year. Very tough team to beat. But I probably envisage a different game. And the late goals, the goals we've given away in the last 2 games have been pretty much avoidable, and that's been a disappointing part. Whenever a team scores against you, it's disappointing. So I suppose the disappointment is probably grows a little bit larger with the lateness of the goals. But again, that was down to the amount of time that they had the ball, and they kept putting us under pressure. So we're working on ball retention, because if we'd have kept the ball a lot more in that second half, then we wouldn't have been so tired at the end. But the nature of sport, the nature of football, most goals will be scored in the last 10 minutes of any game.
We are edging ever closer to that January transfer window opening. The weeks are going by. Have you begun to make plans? Can we expect to see additions in January here?
We've had meetings, myself, Susa and Christian, talking about the squad and how it might look. And there's discussions about maybe some incomings, but nothing that's solid at all yet. So that's one that's going to keep on going.
The one name that keeps cropping up, that you keep being linked with, Morales up at Rangers. Is he a player that you admire? Did you see his goal last night?
I certainly saw his goal last night. It was a very good finish, but it's a player who's contracted to another football club, and we're not a club that talks about them.
Is it a particular position though, maybe up front, that you're looking to add to?
Possibly, simply because Keenan Davis has got a hamstring injury at the moment, so he's one who's out. We've got young Wesley, who's playing his first Premier League campaign, like a few others are. So but we'll just have to wait and see until January.
Just finally, Jurgen Klopp talked this week about, obviously there was the situation of how they were going to fit this Carabao Cup quarter-final tie-in. He's now revealed that they'll field 2 separate squads for that quarter-final and for the Club World Cup. What's your reaction to that? Do you feel like it perhaps gives Villa an improved chance of making the semi-finals?
No, we were prepared to play whenever. The dates that were bandied about was, I think it was the 17th of December, which it now is. So we're really happy to play then and look forward to it, because it was a fixture that was down on our calendar anyway. And I think January was another possible fixture that could have been played, which would have been the first semi-final. So we're happy to play whenever. I said before, I sympathise with Liverpool. They've got to go to the World Club Championships as well, and play a couple of games out there. So difficult for them in terms of how they deal with it. But I can only concentrate on Aston Villa, and whatever's in front of us, we'll try and beat.
As the indications are that perhaps he may field a younger side for that quarter-final, would that be good news to you?
No, who knows? Because in our 3 Carabao Cup games, I think I've probably made a minimum of 9 changes as well. So it's a competition where you can give some of the other lads a run, because it's a midweek game, and playing three games in a week can often take its toll on players.
Just very quickly, so we talked about Jack Grealish, him being 50-50. Any other injury team news?
No, at the moment everybody else seems to be fine. So Henry missed a day's training, but he should be okay.
Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you.
Dean, Wolves seem to have got to grips with playing Thursday, Sunday after a kind of a slow start. How impressed are you with the way that they've done that this season?
Very impressed. They've probably played 21, 22 games already, so very impressed with how they're doing it, and they're having to rotate the squad, because mentally can be tough. They haven't shown any signs of tiredness in the Premier League games following the Europa games that I've seen so far. But here's hoping Sunday is the one where they maybe feel a bit tired.
And as a manager who understands Aston Villa inside out, how important are these derby games to you and the supporters? Yeah,
local bragging rights is always a big thing. It doesn't reach the heights of the Birmingham City game, obviously, but to go and play a team from the Midlands, 30 miles up the road, and going really well, and you can only have admiration for what they've done over last season, finishing 7th, qualifying for Europa, getting to the FA Cup semi-finals. They've done a remarkable job there, so it's going to be a really tough game for us, but one we're looking forward to.
And if you're looking at a team who was newly promoted and did so well in the first season and now in Europa League, would that be the sort of team that you and other teams would be trying to emulate?
Yeah, you're always trying to improve, and you can look no further than Wolves for what they've done. We will do it different, and we have done it different. people spoke earlier in the season that, you know, because of the money we spent, it was like doing a Fulham, whatever doing a Fulham means. You know, but each club is unique to its own, you know, values, fundamentals that the owners set, and you know, our way is different to what Wolves is, to what Fulham was, and we'll go our own way and try and keep improving as a football club.
A win as well, you could leapfrog them for all you know, the success of Wolves. You're only 2 points behind them.
Yeah, I think a win and you can leapfrog about 6 or 7. You know, such is, you know, the compactness of, you know, 6 down to 18 or whatever it is. You know, so it's a really tight league, and as I said before, I think we've been very competitive in every game we've played. You know, so we'll continue to be that, and you know, give them a challenge on Sunday.
And finally, for me, not really any pre-match connection, but last week I was at a Kicks event. Matt Targett was there. Kicks is something that Aston Villa have been involved in for a long time. How important is Aston Villa's role in the community, and you personally, from what you've seen of the Kicks campaign? Yeah,
I mean, the community work that the football club does is tremendous, and you know, we want to be a club that's here for the community. You know, we do an awful lot of work, myself, the players, the staff, going out to local schools all around the community, and you know, there's a real bond between the fans and the players and the staff at the moment, and it's something that we want to continue. And the only way you can do that is by, you know, letting people see that these players are only human, because you know, at times they're put up on a pedestal, and you know, the players are only too welcoming to go out and, you know, do community events. Thank you.